This video is about how to convert your P-Series Vespa to take this T5 rear brake cable. We're going to use this conversion kit offered by SIP Scooter Shop, and I'm going to go over how we install it into a P-Series. All right, I've already removed the cotter pin and nut, and we're going to pop this hub off and then start removing all the brake pads. So we'll pop this spring and we take these two little clips off that hold our pads on, and try not to lose these. Sometimes they go flying, sometimes you get lucky. That one was lucky. Let's see if I can do this twice. Oh, got it. Okay. Pop this guy off. So now that we have our hub removed, we have to get this little guy out. So this arm, which is going to pass through the case here, and now you can't really see it at the moment. There's a little cotter pin back there that we've got to get to. It's kind of hard to see. Plus, this motor's covered in grease and dirt and grime. But there's a tiny little cotter pin here, and there's a spring, and then this arm. So to get this out, we've got to get our cotter pin out, and it's actually, I don't know if you're really gonna be able to see this. The cotter pin may not actually be here anymore. It's either worn itself out, or maybe someone didn't put it back in when they were working on this. It's supposed to be right here. Not that I can tell. There we go. Okay, well, there is supposed to be a cotter pin in this. So here's our spring. I'm going to set that aside. All right, our shaft and our arm. So this arm is what we're actually replacing. There is a, the cotter pin is in there, it's just broken. It's just, over time it's sheared itself off. So there is this little pin here. There's also two rubber O-rings here, which, you know, if you're doing a full-on engine rebuild like I'm doing, I'm going to replace these. You know, obviously if you're just pulling the hub off with the engine still in the bike, you don't necessarily have to replace these unless they're worn out. There is some grease. There's a little indentation in here on the shaft. You can see that gets packed with grease. So you may want to repack this with grease when you reassemble it. Let's see if we can get it all cleaned up here. But hopefully you can see here our broken cotter pin. At any rate, I'm going to punch this out and then clean all this up and get ready to reinstall our new brake arm, spring, and a new cotter pin. So this is our new arm. One thing that I have had an issue with in the past with these is sometimes the machining of this area is not very good, and I've had to open this up with a Dremel. In this case, though, it slides right on. So you do want to test fit these two things before you put them together. Maybe SIP has kind of gotten their machining a little bit better on these, because this is a newer kit. At any rate, we're basically ready to reinstall the shaft and the arm with our spring. And let's get this spring cleaned up too. All right, this is the T5 brake conversion kit. So in this kit from SIP, you're gonna get the arm, you're gonna get this little barrel and nut, a cotter pin, and then this cable. And of course, this cable's got the threaded end here that'll slide through this barrel on this arm and be kept in place by this nut. So I've punched out my broken cotter pin. I've installed my new rubber O-rings. I'm going to go ahead and throw some grease on here and get these guys all lubed up. I'm just going to kind of try and pack this indentation with grease. Let's get this guy in there. Now, what I'm gonna do is, we've got our arm and our spring. And let's see here. All right, so to install this, we've got to get we're gonna slide our arm in like so. And then we're gonna get our spring oriented in the right position. So the straight part of the spring is going against the engine case, and then this curved guy is gonna go around. We're just gonna lift it up like so, slide our spring on, push our arm all the way through. Now what you want to do is, now that we have our spring on here, I'm going to push all the way through, push the arm all the way through, and I'm going to slide my selector arm, or the brake arm I should say, all the way over. Now you can see that we've got our hole for our cotter pin is on the outside of the brake arm. And what we want is the brake arm nice and tight against the engine case, holding this whole assembly tight. And then the spring is going to slide in here. For the moment, we're going to kind of slide it out of the way. And I'm going to rotate down so I can get my cotter pin in place. Let's see here. Get this turn. There we go. So now I'm going to bend my cotter pin around. Now I can just slide my spring over, get it tucked on, and poof. That is now installed. The next thing we're going to have to do while we've got the engine up in this position is this guy right here has to come out. So we're going to take this out. Now this slack adjuster is now going to be moot with our new cable, so we're just going to discard this. This threaded hole though has to be opened up to receive the cable end. So basically what we need to do is drill that threaded hole out to accept this right here. This sleeve is going to set inside of that slot, or inside of that hole where our slack adjuster once was. Kind of, let's see if I can flip it around. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see if our cable fits. Ooh. Oh, a little tight. I'm going to give it a little bit more. There we go. Nice. Perfect. And you can see that's going to line up. Hopefully you can see that. Let's bring this down. And so just as a little preview to our installation, this barrel is going to go in here, and this threaded end is going to go here, and it's all going to sit just like that. So that's basically how our assembly is going to look as we put it all back together. All right, so to take the brake out, you've got to take this rubber pad off. Yeah, that's trash, so I'm going to replace it. And you're going to need a 10mm socket and a 10mm wrench. Now there's one more 10mm bolt that's right here, and we got to get this guy off. And this actually threads into the body of the scooter. Now obviously when you're doing this, the first thing to do is to actually disconnect it from the rear brake on the engine. And clearly, again, oh, there we go. Clearly, again, I'm doing this while the engine's out. And if you're gonna do this modification without taking your motor out, you would disconnect from the rear brake first, then remove it here. Now, once you've got this done, there's the little dance of getting the pedal out of this hole. And it's really just kind of a twist. This is always kind of a fight. So So I got the body out, and now I'm gonna get it out like that. There we go. And so here's our harness, which I'm gonna disconnect. Well, I cut that away. That is your brake light switch. Now, and this is the brake cable. Now, if you're doing this with your engine in the scooter and the scooter all together, when you take this out, you're gonna wanna disconnect it and leave your cable in the body, and that'll allow you to fish your new cable using the old cable back through. This way you don't have to take the gas tank out. Clearly, in my situation, I don't have that problem. But next thing we're gonna do is get this apart and clean it all up. I've cleaned this all up. I took the old cable out. Now I'm gonna remove this guy because of the type of cable I bought. They do sell one that is, let me find it. I'm gonna take this guy out because the cable that I've got has this guy, which is gonna go right here. Now you can get this cable. So it's got our threaded end, and then it's just got an open end. And I could have used this along with this clamp, but for a P series, this is just a lot easier. This is a great cable if you want to do this on like a 60s or like the early 70s bodied scooters. Although you can also use this on a small frame, and at some point I'm gonna make a video about how to do that, but that's a really custom job because they don't actually make the brake arm for it. That'll be for another video. So to get this guy out, we're going to remove this little cotter pin right here. You've got to depress your guy here. One thing you can do is just remove the spring from the back, so you don't have to mess with it, and push this little guy out. Boom, there, gone. Now to fit this, we've got to actually cut a channel in the top of this so this is all going to fit. Nice. So now that fits in there like so, and her pin is going to go back in like that. And I've got to find the cotter pin because I don't know where I put it. Where the hell did I put that damn cotter pin? Damn air compressor. Come on. So there we go. Now our assembly's back together, and this is ready to be installed back in the scooter. Now we're ready to reinstall our brake pedal assembly. I'm gonna yet again reiterate, if you are doing this with the engine still in, and you have left your original cable coming through, you're going to want to essentially marry your new cable to your original cable. This is, I've done it, it's super frustrating. You can use E-tape. I have used green floral wire, like the wire that the florists use to tie flowers together. It's really thin and kind of durable. There's a couple different methods you can do. Either way, you want to attach that old outer sleeve to this new guy somehow and shove them on through. Of course, again, here I'm got this scooter completely all gutted. So as you get your cable installed, you're then going to take your wiring and run it back to your switch, nice and tight. All right, now the fun begins. So I think we've got to get our foot up through first. There we go. All right, harness is still attached. Let's get this cable back into place. There we go. And shove our harness up in there. Yeah, look at that, like butter. All right, now we're at the last part of our install. So after you've run your cable through, you're gonna get it threaded through the body, and you're gonna get it threaded through this little guy. So we're gonna put our little barrel in the arm, like so, and stick our cable through the body, and thread it into this little hole here in the barrel. There we go. Now we're going to take our nut, push the arm in a little bit, and get this threaded on. Now, the last thing we're going to do is get our brake tension set. So to do this, I'm going to push in on the brake arm, and I'm going to feel for where the brake pads are just starting to touch the inside of the drum. Now I'm gonna thread our nut in a little bit. There we go. Let's check. That feels pretty good. I don't feel any rubbing. Okay. So now I'm gonna turn the hub while I'm pressing down on the brake pedal. Oh, that's pretty good. But I could probably go another turn or two. So let's see. Let's hit. And I press down on the brake with my hand as I'm rotating the rear hub. Go a little bit more. Okay. All right, still no resistance. Press down on the brake pedal. Ooh. That's right there. Let me try a little bit more. Ooh. You know what? I can feel that right there. It's just rubbing a little bit. So we're just a little too tight. So I'm going to come back off 2 turns. And I don't hear anything. That's it. That's the end of this install. We've got a super tight brake now. We're ready to throw the tire on, and we're ready for this scooter to get back on the road. This is a great kit for your P or any Vespa you can get this installed on. It makes adjusting the rear brake super easy and makes the adjustment of your pedal like super fine. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe.